Uh-oh. I feel like the Celtics were the very first team to really expose the Lakers for not having enough size, right? And they were really able to take advantage of the Lakers for not having that, man. And because of that, um, yeah, that's what led to this first loss in a long time. And to the Lakers looking vulnerable in a lot of ways. On top of the LeBron injury, on top of Jackson Hayes being out, on top of Rui being out. Um, we just didn't have enough. We weren't big enough. They just overpowered us in a lot of ways. And then defensively, we didn't look as elite as we have over the recent years, man. So I don't know if my Lakers are in trouble or not, but we'll see. What's going on, man? This is Will Z, Well Skybox Conversations, man. The Hoop Power. We talk about all things hoops, especially about my favorite two teams, man. The Los Angeles Lakers and on the college level, the Arkansas Razorbacks. But yeah, like I said, man, that was the very first time in a game where in a while since the trade for sure, where I felt like the Lakers looked vulnerable, where I felt like because I mean, it was a matter of time, right? We're a really good team, or maybe a not so good team, exposed us for the lack of size and just how we were hunting mismatches against the Al Horfords and everything. The difference was that Al Horford was able to hold his own defensively. He was moving them feet, man, and was able to not necessarily win his matchup every time, but do enough to disrupt where the Celtics didn't even have to send two, to help him out. He was able to hold up to Luka, hold up against Braun a couple times, and just move his feet. And then on the other end, he was getting mismatches against Austin Reeves and things of that nature. And he was punishing that as well. And then Jason Tatum was beating his man off the dribble. There was no shot. There was no shot blocker at the rim, and so yeah, I like a size show. Now I did a video a while back where I said we didn't need Mark Williams because we got Luca, and I still feel that way in a lot of ways. But you don't have Jackson Hayes, right? Who has been pretty damn good defensively and also a great lob threat, right? A great around the rim, able to spread the defense out and open up them lanes for a Luca, open up those things for Austin Reeves, LeBron, et cetera, right? Help out with the rebounding, at least be a big enough body, right? Because you don't trust Alex Lynn, right? Jemison only can do so much. Um, it just wasn't enough, right? And the Celtics are just too damn good in a lot of ways, which is why I said from the beginning, I don't fear a lot of teams when it comes to who the Lakers can beat when it comes to the playoffs. But the Celtics fully healthy, and this is the thing: the Celtics weren't even fully healthy. You don't have Porzingis, right? And it was a great point Tim Legler made last night. He said, well, you don't have Porzingis, but their backup big being Al Horford is much better than what our alternative option was when it comes to our bigs, which is why JJ had to go small, right? And hoping that our defense, especially on the perimeter, could be so elite where the paint wasn't that much of an issue. But again, they were hunting mismatches. They were getting them. They were sealing early in transition, and they were just getting easy stuff. And then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combined for 70. Um, it's tough to overcome that. Right now, LeBron gets hurt in this game, probably just overexerting himself, trying to have to do so much, hurt his damn groin. They're talking about he may be out 1 or 2 weeks. And normally if that was to happen with Anthony Davis, LeBron being out, I would be a little bit more worried. But I'm not as worried because you still have Luka Doncic, right, who can carry a lot of that offensive load and do a lot of the things LeBron does in a lot of ways. Now, what it does mean is that Austin Reeves has to step up more. You hope you get Rui back because that'll help out a whole lot when you talk about size. Um, he can come back doing what he was doing, and that I think can hold us over until LeBron comes back. But we need him back ASAP, man. But like again, I don't feel as worried about it because I think we have enough in other ways. But yeah, the Celtics were the first team to really expose this Laker team for not having a big and not having an elite enough big that can do some things offensively to offset what they were doing, and make them pay, but then also not big enough to be able to stop them getting to the rim, them searching the mismatches and putting the small guys on Al Horford, whatever the case may be. You just couldn't do enough. And I felt like even, they were getting a lot of offensive rebounds over us and so many different things like that, man. So I'm not going to really recap the game, but I think the main point here is that they expose us in a lot of ways, things that we've been doing really, really well. We couldn't do so much. All right, their defense was I thought our defense was good. Their defense was crazy. I think it was a point in the game where we scored what, 3 points in 6 minutes or some shit like that. I had 3 points in 6 minutes, and I think we ended up scoring like 12 points for the whole quarter or something crazy like that. So like that Celtics defense in that third quarter was elite. Was elite. They were making it hell for us. We couldn't hit shit. We couldn't get to our spot. There was time where Luka couldn't beat his man off the dribble. He got ripped a couple times. And I guess those are the things that Nico Harris was talking about, when it comes to conditioning and it comes to him being a liability in a lot of ways, which he wasn't a terrible liability on defense per se. But if you're not in a certain type of shape to where you can blow by your man and you can beat your man one-on-one, you're struggling to get by Al Horford at damn near 40 years old. I'm not gonna say it's cause for concern because he still had like a 30-point, 30-point double Luka had. What did he have? He had 34 points and 8 rebounds. So like he didn't have a bad game or anything like that. But it's just like you did see those moments where it's like, he can't get it, he can't beat him. They locking that up. He turned it over. Right. There were these moments. And then I think our bench got to be better, right? You need Gabe. Gabe, when they say Gabe won us that game the other night against where Gabe won us that game the other night against New York, that was a real thing when they said that. They meant that. JJ meant that because he really did win us the game hitting big shots. And you need him to continue to be a spark for us off the bench, right? It was cool, even better when you had Dorian Finney-Smith coming off the bench because that was another spark defensively and offensively. Even better when you had Vando coming off the bench because it was a spark of energy and defensively. But these dudes were starting. And then there was a play, too, where the Celtics were doing a lot of the things that JJ does, where it was like, we'll live with certain people shooting a three or having to shoot long shots. We'll live with the results of those things or challenge them and then make adjustments. And what was happening is that Austin Reeves or Luka, even if they could collapse and get to the paint, his outlet would normally could be a Rui or Austin or something like that, right? If you're talking about Luka, it was Vando a lot of those times. And Vando's a streaky shooter, right? And I said this time and time again, if he can become consistent with shooting the corner three, we're a scary team. We can beat anybody. But that's a big if, right? That's a if. That's not a for sure thing. And it looks shaky. It looks shaky, man. And they kind of did a lot of the things that we like to do. You're gambling on the numbers of who certain people are going to be shooting the ball and like again, hoping for the best and preparing for the worst type of thing. And they blew the game open to like 20 something at one point. And we were good enough to get back in it, but we just couldn't get enough stops. We couldn't get enough stops. We didn't have any protection at the rim. The mismatches they were seeking out, they were working. Their bench was better than ours. Brian gets hurt late in the fourth. It was just kind of those type of things, man. So I'm interested to see how this Laker team holds up for the next couple of weeks, potentially, especially if Brian is out. Hopefully, Rui is on his way back. Hopefully, with Jackson Hayes, it was nothing too serious, and he's on his way back. But I know Rob is in the back. Like, yeah, we still need a big, right? We still need a starting caliber big. And then if Jackson becomes your second option, I feel really good about Jackson Hayes at the second option now. Because of the things he's doing when he's a starter, right? He keeps bringing that same energy with essentially the same team next year, hopefully. I feel pretty damn good. So it's just one of those things, man. Now, this is something else I got to think about, though. Luka looked a little hobbled as well. If he's going to be carrying a lot of the offensive load for this team, what does that look like come playoff time? What does that look like? When I say what that look like, meaning we don't want to run him into the ground so much to where he's potentially injured, right? Or not 100% when the playoffs come and he's playing on one leg essentially like he was last year in the finals. You need Brun obviously absolutely healthy, right? You need your whole team, of course, but I'm worried because it's like we got all these back to backs, got all these crazy games coming up, all these, all these different things. And it's like, how do you manage all of this stuff but still not let yourself slide out of being one of those top seeds? Now Denver lost today, got their ass kicked by OKC, so we're the second seed again after dropping to the third after the loss. But it's just like you don't want to run Luka into the ground too, right? Especially when you talk about something like a hamstring and the things he was dealing with in that case, right? That's a tricky thing. But if I had to put, you know, just say what the headlines were that really stuck out to me from that game, not just so much the Celtics, but in general, like big takeaways that really elite teams that can match up really well can say we can exploit your weakness of not having a big if they have that. Um, we got to be able to hit enough shots and enough threes, which I knew that was going in. We got to be able to match that. Not necessarily do it just as much, but hit enough, and we couldn't. I feel like Austin didn't have a terrible game, but you need more from him. Um, our bench, we need more from Dalton. You need more from Gabe, right? Hopefully, you can get it back to where Dorian Finney-Smith and Vando are coming off the bench, right? Jordan Goodwin has some good moments. Need more from him. Our defense has to get back to the elite level that it was. So where we're the ones holding people under, 12 points in the third quarter, stuff like that. So like it's those little things I think that made the biggest difference. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me is that we were finally exposed for our lack of size. And if you can get the right matchup in the right switch in the right situation, you can pick on the Lakers a little bit. We're vulnerable in that way. And then having to put a dude like Vando on the court, especially playing like small ball 5 or 4, he can't stretch the floor enough. So then the floor becomes shrink because that extra defender can sink in a little bit and be an extra helper. He can go jump Luka. He can make things hard for Austin Reeves and Luka and LeBron and whoever else. And it just makes the spacing on the floor really, really hard. And so it's just a lot of little things that JJ's gonna have to work out. Now he tried some things. He did like some short ball, screen and roll, things like that, man, to get some Vando some easy looks at the basket. But then he's not a great free throw shooter when he's getting fouled. So it's just little shit, man, that I know JJ will tweak and fix, and we're gonna be fine. I'm not worried. But I do think that was the first game where the Lakers got a little bit exposed for some of their weaknesses. Even though we've been doing such a great job and able to close games despite that. So just something to keep your eye out for and see if any other teams watch that game and go into the game against us feeling, confident, so to speak, because of what they may have saw. But that's why I say there's only a few teams I'm worried about. And again, that's the healthy Boston Celtics team. Hell, without KP, they dangerous, but with him, they on another level. Especially when you got Drew Holiday back, and then you got, like I said, OKC. You gotta respect them, but I think we can beat them. I said a healthy Mavs, but that doesn't seem likely. And then the Cavs are just a great system. You got to respect them, and they're huge too. And I think they will exploit a lot of those matchups. So those are the two. Those are the two, maybe 3 teams that I'm really thinking about when it comes to like this is who you got to go through, and this is what's going to be hell for us as the Lakers. But we'll be fine. We'll be fine, I think. But it's interesting to see how we finish out these last 20 so games, especially if we talking about missing some time for LeBron. Luka not 100%. Don't know how long Jackson Hayes is going to be out. So just interesting to keep an eye on, man. So I want y'all to watch that for me. And then we're going to come back and see what we think about it real soon. I love y'all so much. Be sure to like, subscribe to the video. And I'm going to end it right there. All right. Peace.